Good morning and welcome to the Tuesday morning Blitz. It is I, Jackson Roberts. It is he, Kale Clinton, and it is our third mic, chipper, positive outlook, Nolan Hughes, joining us for the first time on video. So all of our loyal listeners get to see his smiling face as we share some words this week about a team we all love very much, the Buffalo Bills. So that's still to come in the show. But Nolan, welcome, and how are you doing?
I've had better days. They were back when I was blissfully ignorant, but
before I awoke, before my third eye opened up and I saw the horrors that were the Sean McDermott defense.
We had a text thread yesterday asking Nolan to come on because the timing would work out with everyone's schedules.
And he wanted to bully
jokingly
me.
That he would only come on as long as the Bills did not lose and not fire Sean McDermott. And I guess that was a bluff because those things both happened and he's still here. So welcome.
Thanks for having me. It's an honor.
It's not called the Wednesday morning Blitz, Jackson. You know, we could have given him some more time. Not out of the woods yet.
Frank Reich doesn't get any time, so therefore I do not get any time.
That's very fair. That will kick off our show in a non-Bills direction because Frank Reich forced our hand today. We will come back to the Bills very soon. But Frank Reich fired after 11 games, 2 games less than an Urban Meyer, the 4th fewest games coached in NFL history. Lots of good work being done all over the media landscape today about the short-lived Frank Reich tenure, which really, started off as we couldn't hire Ben Johnson, and then we're going to trade up to the number 1 overall pick and take Bryce Young over CJ Stroud. And all that has led to here in a very short amount of time. It almost seems like it's not even enough to reflect on because it came and went so fast. But anyone got reflections on the Frank Reich Carolina Panthers tenure?
Okay, you want to start here?
No, I don't. I don't have any reflections. I don't want to start here. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad, not good. A lot of Frank Reich swapping back and forth between quarterbacks, between play callers. But positive, he somehow made Adam Thielen de-age 4 or 5 years. Adam Thielen looked back. Yeah, I don't want to totally leap into the next part, but this is a tough task to follow up. It really is.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Syracuse football program. You have all these expectations, and you have no chance of ever meeting them because everything is rotten.
I wouldn't even say that.
It's the opposite in that you have time in the northern with the northern team, and you have no time to win with the Panthers. But similar in that you have no chance.
I don't think it's my issue with it is like the Bryce Young pick now kind of dictates what the next job is. It's just no matter what, you've got to make this work. And that's tough on its own, but you're doing it with kind of nothing in-house. Your best players are all on the defense, and most of them are hitting the open market within the next calendar year or next 15 months, either this year or next year. So if you're going to try and build something, awesome. But this is really, I don't know, it's a very like subservient coaching position where you're kind of just beholden to ownership. Your only job is to make this work. It's going to be an offensive-minded coach. It's going to be a developmental job. And you just got to make Bryce Young work. And like people are going to want it because there's only 32 pro jobs in the league. But it's a very unenviable task to make Bryce Young look good after the 12 weeks we've seen him play.
Yeah, I almost feel like it's still unfair to even judge Bryce Young, even though he has at no point looked good. And given the state of the Panthers skill position room, I don't see it getting better anytime soon. And what's the best, way to rebuild a roster is your draft. And the Panthers do not have their first round draft pick this year. So it only gets worse from here. And you mentioned the Tepper part of it as well. I mean, not to go into like deep specifics, but one of the more demanding and sort of crushing team owners in all of professional sports right now. And the expectations don't seem to match the reality of what the roster is and can be. So I don't know if that like plays a big factor in deciding to take a coaching job or not. Like, people sign on to work for Dan Snyder every year, but doesn't seem appealing.
No, like that, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why you would want to take it unless you had to take it. Like this is like Houston, the Texans a couple years ago when like the jobs were going to Lovey and the Baltimore Ravens wide receivers coach. What was that? Great, he got screwed out of it, but like that just kind of that's the type of hire I feel like they're looking at now.
I can picture the guy's face. I can't remember his name. He was great though.
Loved him.
The Panthers job, like, I don't know. You're not getting Ben Johnson. You're not getting like top end stuff unless you're going to do, and like Belichick almost with the Mac Jones stuff disqualifies you from getting him, like, because he's just not going to develop a guy, which your numbers are getting narrow. And according to Schefter, there's going to be anywhere from 7 to 10 coaching jobs or just coaching vacancies this year, including the Panthers one. And Panthers get, one of the first bites at the apple because they're the most open, but they're probably between 8th and 10th on that list. It's not a good starting point for them. I don't know. We'll see how things goes, but it feels upsetting to know this team is kind of like already looking to the 2025 draft, which is great. Nuts, but we'll see.
You've said at points like this guy maybe is a year away from a coaching opportunity. The most recent which I would think of is Bobby Slowick. Would you offer a job to somebody like a Bobby Slowick who, say they don't get their first crack of the apple, right? Say they go down a couple shoots and they get, turned down by the Ben Johnsons of the world and et cetera. Is it better to take a shot on somebody that you think might be a year away from, head coach ready, or would you rather do retreads like they just tried with Frank Reich?
Well, the beauty of that is they can say no. Gerard Mayo said no. Ben Johnson said no. Went back to Detroit. You can just say no. Like, there's no reason that Bobby Slowick shouldn't have his choice at the head coaching opportunity he wants. And moreover, there's no reason why he would want to leave Houston outside of getting the ideal position. So he can just ride this out. He's fine. You're put at such a disadvantage for Carolina because you've already had such a poor. I think Carolina since new ownership took over has like a 25% win rate. It's like 20 something and 60 something since what is his name? I'm totally blanking on the owner.
Tepper. David Tepper.
Yeah, since Tepper bought the team. And there's already been so many coaching turnovers. I think he oversaw the Rivera dropout. You went through Matt Rule. That was a nightmare. You could have given Steve Wilkes a job. He's now doing great in San Francisco. Like, you've seen opportunities come and go, and I don't know. I think the more telling thing is that Colts were in the exact same position as the Carolina Panthers. They were a team with a couple defensive assets, nothing really going offensively, with Frank Reich in the building, and they recognize we're going into this draft for a new quarterback, and we don't want Frank Reich to develop him. And then Carolina said, awesome, we'll let him develop our guy. And look at where they are now. Richardson's hurt, but Gardner Minshew's kind of balling, and you're getting 100% out of guys like, Michael Pittman, Josh Downs. The offensive line looks a lot better. Jonathan Taylor looks a lot better. This is a team that's winning games they're not supposed to.
Yeah, and the key being, they got the right play caller in the building. Shane Steichen's 4th and 1 call to Mo Alley Cox yesterday just had me ascending from my couch through the ceiling in love. And then 2, they didn't give up their first-round pick in order to get the quarterback. So even when he gets hurt this year, you A, still have him for next year, and B, still have your own first-round pick to add to your team. The Panthers have neither option right now.
Yeah, it's win-win. Panthers is lose-lose.
Fun. I'm glad to be wearing this hat today. There may not be optimism there, but I know Nolan's got lots of Bills optimism today. It's the reason why we're here. Just a moral victory yesterday. Played a really close game. Took it to overtime. Almost beat the Eagles. Just a little miscommunication between Allen and Gabe Davis. Like, who among us hasn't done that with the game on the line before? And I don't really think we have anything bad to say about the Bills today, right?
Yeah, I mean, what did you expect? We've been down. How many times have we been down this road?
True.
When they threw the touchdown to Gabe Davis with 1:52 left, I knew we were losing in that moment, because that was, well, any amount of time, as you guys have made me well aware, is too much time against the Bills.
Well, unless the Bills have the ball with 20 seconds left, and then they're just going to take a knee.
Correct. Yeah, no amount of time is enough for us, but it is always too much against us. How many times have we been down this road before? I found the tweet that I was looking for. Updated Bills stupid loss tiers. Tier 1, 13 seconds. This is from @SneakyJoeSports. Tier 2, the Minnesota game last year. Remember when the Bills blew a 30-3 lead or something like that? Josh fumbled on our own goal line.
4th and 17. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Isaiah Vasquez, for that tremendous photo that lives in my head every moment. The wind game against New England when Mac Jones threw for 4 yards. The Urban Meyer's lone victory on American soil, that came against us, a healthy Bills team.
9-6.
What I believe we are calling now the Philly fuck up kicks off tier 3. Week 1 against the Jets. I guess that one you can actually blame on Josh. So that one's in its own category. The Hail Murray, which I actually forget about quite often.
That was against you too.
I forgot that was against the Bills.
Game of the year every year. Bills versus opposing team.
Didn't the Cardinals win like one more
Bills
game
versus
after
winner.
that?
Yeah. McDermott referenced the Hail Murray play last night because it happened. Olamide Zaccheaus, however you say his name, Zaccheaus, did it to Micah Hyde last night on 3rd and 18 or something. Also, the Texans OT game, which has kicked off the 0-6, 0-7. Where are we at now? Have we played week 13 yet? The Denver 12-man a few weeks ago. We lost to Zach Wilson last year too. That was 2 in a row we lost to him. Yeah, we've been down this road 1,000 times before. I didn't even mention the other playoff games, like when we lost to the Bengals last year. Like, do this time and time again. Josh and the offense do what they need to do, even if there's a mistake or two along the way. He makes enough plays should have won the game, and then they have the lead with 2 minutes and change or less to go, and McDermott lets the opposing offense walk right down the field and score. And he takes a stupid timeout in there that hurts the offense, trying to make up for his mistake again. Every time.
So,
I will push back on that a bit.
Real quick, I don't think last night was like the worst McDermott performance of all time. There were a couple of mistakes, but it's not like, I mean, how many dropped touchdowns and missed field goals did they have? Like, that's not his fault, but go ahead.
No, I will fully stop myself from combating you, because I thought last year's Bengals playoff loss was 17-10. It was 27-10.
And that is better than it actually felt. It could have been 40-10 if they wanted it to be.
Yeah. Weren't prepared for a home playoff game in the snow.
They also let Skylar Thompson led Miami team, hang 31 on them the week before. That was impressive. Yeah, it's kind of confounding the head coaching mistakes that kind of pop up. What was the one final play of the game? The Jalen Hurts touchdown.
The entire offense knew exactly what we were doing, and we're like, they're doing this. We're gonna score.
Who was the offensive lineman that said
Mailata.
It was Jordan Mailata had come out and said, this look is foundational to our offensive playbook. And
they only run it on every 2nd and 9 the entire game.
And we've never he basically was like, we've never seen a team show us like this. Run this pre-snap look and play this out this way. This team is really old. This team has continued to fail on early round defensive picks, both on the line and at both at the on the line in the secondary. They're kind of just retreading the same guys. We don't have to talk about the fact that Von Miller is pretty much a non-factor this year.
Dude, I think I read he has 1 tackle.
I'm going to look it up.
Got one? It's like how Kevin Byard didn't touch a ball for most of the season, but not touching ball carriers instead, which is 10,000 times worse.
Our Bills correspondent, not really our correspondent, but the only person I take Bills notes from, Nolan Victoria Zeller, brought up that Jonathan Kingsley should be
Kingsley Jonathan.
That's how little I know this person.
His last name is Jonathan.
You guys are going to lose your minds. This is hysterical. Reading Bills players with 2 solo tackles on the season. Jonathan Kingsley. Or Kingsley Jonathan. Actually, now I'm confused. Reggie Gilliam has 2. The fullback for the offense. Tyler Matkovich. Trent Sherfield. Reed Ferguson, the long snapper. DeMar Hamlin.
Yes, I knew it.
And now with 1 solo tackle, Von Miller.
However, he does have a QB hit. He's got 1. He's got 1 on Burrow. Oh, no, that's in the Tampa game. Never mind. He's got 1 on Baker.
He has as many tackles as Ty Johnson and Tyler Bass.
Dude, the Trent Sherfield one is the one that killed me. DeMar, I get it.
Oh, the DeMar one.
He's limited special team reps. It's understandable. When your offensive player is the one with more tackles than Vaughn, then it's a problem.
Josh have any tackles?
Probably 7. Josh Norman has 3.
I'm not going to be flippant, and I don't want to come off as just totally disregarding whatever, just or being a victim of the moment. McDermott and Bean have to go. This is just bad team comp top to bottom. They need someone new to come in and rejuvenate this offense because they've been trying to keep it young this whole time and it hasn't worked. And now they have the oldest defense in the league and it's kind of falling apart at the seams. And even with the lack of skill position players, Joe Brady's holding up his end of the bargain.
Dude, the Ken Dorsey thing, humming.
The Ken Dorsey thing worked. It was a lot of negative touchdown regression they were producing as one of the best offenses in the league, but even with those numbers, they should have been scoring at Dolphins levels and they weren't. But Brady's got them humming. And it's just the defense is you think about Buffalo as a defensive team because of McDermott and because of all the big names they have there. And it's those big names over the last half decade that are now 30 plus, completely aging out. And the young guys you have, Matt Milano's ballpark 30. Daquan Jones is probably 27. They're both out for the year. Like those can be the core of your front seven, along with Elam and Benson going forward. But beyond that, like you kind of just got to hit reset. And Bean has not been helping reset this defense the way he thought he would.
No, like the amount of impact players that they've brought in on that side of the ball has been slim to none. Douglas was cool at the trade deadline. Like the linebacker, Terrell Dotson's been good. Bernard's been great, but like, cool. You have a great linebackers coach. Like the number of players in the secondary that are, I mean, they drafted Kyrie Elam. You had me so hyped about this man, and I don't think he plays anymore. He's just a healthy scratch every week, despite the fact that Trey White's been down.
Last week, their 5th round drafted corner rookie was playing more than their 1st round drafted corner rookie. Like, it's just a problem. And also, like, not to, like, actually, yeah, you got to compare these teams because they're, they're considered the top of the AFC year in and year out. Look at how the Bengals and Chiefs have responded. Chiefs spent 5 years just dumping all they could into young resources, not worrying about the offense too much. And yeah, it's coming back to bite them. But if you've got a quarterback of the caliber of Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen for this case, you just need 1 or 2 guys and you can try and fill in the rest. And that defense is awesome. And it's arguably in one of the hardest and most demanding defensive schemes in the league because of the front Spagnuolo plays, because of the blitz packages and the stunts he sends and the like sideline to sideline assignments that they're given in the secondary. You kind of have to like Spagnuolo is one of the hardest guys to play for, and he's getting so much out of Trent McDuffie, Leo Chenal, George Karlaftis, and even the Bengals. Like the result hasn't been the same, obviously, but like this is, Cam Taylor, Britt, like you're just starting to develop these guys. And this is the first year that you've got Lou Anarumo kind of like doing a full revamp because they lost Von Mel and Jesse Bates.
But that's like the key difference. The Bengals thought ahead and we're like, hey, we have Burrow and Chase and maybe Higgins, and we're going to need to draft some offensive linemen or have some money to pay for offensive linemen. Maybe we need to let a couple of these aging veterans go and try to rebuild this team through the draft. And they let them walk, and they knew they would take a step back in order to maybe take a step forward. And the Bills just keep re-signing all those guys. And it was cool when it was like working, but like this is what happens when you keep signing old guys. Like eventually the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, the funny thing is they had their biggest reset with both of their safeties. The Bills were able to retain both of their safeties. Cincinnati's 18th in defensive passing DVOA. Buffalo is 19th in defensive passing DVOA. Like,
now, to be fair, they tried to let Poyer leave. Poyer just had no suitors, so he came back for cheap. So it's not the worst thing, but they had no backup. I know,
but they made the mistake of signing him to a multi-year deal too. Like they really drank their own Kool-Aid on that one.
One member of the defense we did not mention was Shaq Lawson, who I had forgotten until I went to the Bills homepage. Got into a fight with a fan in Philly last night. So that pretty much tells you, I think, everything you need to know about the state of Bills Mafia. And they've got 5 games left, and they're all really tough opponents. So, I mean, is it just on the next year now, or is it like we just have to fight for pride and try to make it in, win 4 of the last 5 games? Like, where do we go from here?
Dude, this bye week's going to be hell.
Dude, holy cow. Oh, my God, the vibes are horrendous. But, like, for me as a fan, I'm on to next year. Like, I can't. I was kind of already there. Like, they can't do it. They're not doing anything. Every close game, they're going to blow with this dude at the helm. But team-wise, they haven't given up. Like, they're fighting. It's actually remarkably impressive how little there are no signs of the team giving up at all, despite every reason to. So they're going to fight. Like, they're going to come out of this bye and probably kick Kansas City's ass, honestly. Ooh. And it's just not going to matter at the end. Like, that they put themselves in too deep a hole. Like they're going to lose tiebreakers to Pittsburgh and Indy and Cleveland because they lost all these AFC games. Like
Denver. Remember when they lost to Denver? They're ahead of them now.
Yeah, and they're gonna. It's. I saw someone tweeted this the other night. The only reason the Bills made the playoffs and ended the drought McDermott's first year was because of all these stupid tiebreakers and because of a Bengals fluky win with the Tyler Boyd Hail Mary thing. And now it's going to come full circle. Yep, and now it's full circle, and they're going to miss the playoffs probably because of these stupid tiebreakers, and deservedly so when you do so many stupid things.
Sounds like about it to me.
Yeah, I don't think the Denver loss looks as bad now, but I don't know.
Well, it looks bad in a sense that they turned the ball over 5 times and had 12 guys on the field for a game-winning field goal attempt.
Oh, yeah, that was the loss. Okay, yeah, it still looks bad.
It's tough to make that one look
good. They
good.
lost. They gave up a game-winning touchdown with like a minute 30 left to Mac Jones.
Sure did. Mac looks great that day. Mac
Tyrod marched down the field. They lost, I think it was consecutive weeks. Now I have to check this out.
It was.
Let's see.
And they should have lost that Denver game a lot earlier, but first that guy missed the extra point, and then James Cook dribbled the ball to himself downfield, setting up the go-ahead score. Otherwise, I mean, Denver really kind of kicked their asses otherwise.
Yep.
Should we talk about the rest of the AFC playoff picture? Because, I mean, it sounds like you're just writing the Bills off. I'm not, for the record, I'm not like fully writing them off, but I'm giving them maybe a 10% chance at this point, and that could be generous.
The annoying part,
jammed up now.
That's the annoying part, is that they have maybe a 10% chance to make it, and I still think they're one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the conference.
The issue is the schedule. Like,
yeah, it's a brute.
The issue is the fucking head coach.
It's so tough. Like, they've got to play, they lost to the Eagles, Chiefs, Cowboys, Chargers, Patriots, Dolphins, and we'll see how that all shakes out. But you got to win a minimum 3 of those, and there's only 2 gimme games in there. But you look at the Texans.
You're trying to gimme game, brother, not to this Bills team.
But you get to the Texans, and it's Broncos, Jets, both Titans games, Browns, Colts. Like,
look at the Browns and look at the Steelers. All these teams have easy schedules coming.
I just looked at the Steelers, Cardinals, Pats, Colts, Bengals, Seahawks, Ravens. Ravens could having a divisional game week 18, depending on how their seed falls. It's so tight at the top that the Ravens might have to play that one out, which would be beneficial to Buffalo, I guess. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, what the Bills need is Cleveland to fall apart with PJ Walker. They need the Steelers to probably step on the gas and win all the rest of their games and just not, they're the 5, they're in. And then they just need either Indy or Houston to fall apart. And those are not very likely. Indy more likely than Houston. I'd say if the Bills are getting in, it's probably with Pittsburgh and Houston ahead of them. That would be my most likely scenario. But that's why it's 10%, because it doesn't.
You want to know the craziest thing, Jackson? New England Patriots are not mathematically eliminated from the 2 seed.
Okay.
Is that the craziest thing? Hypothetically. This isn't a segue to the next segment. I'm just saying the AF, there is no one mathematically eliminated from the AFC yet. This could still go any way.
True, although probably not the Patriots' way, but I see the vision. The Titans are thinking that was the funniest thing I heard this weekend. Actually, was I was just on Red Zone and there was a big lull at the end of Titans Panthers, so they let the last few snaps play out. And basically, whoever was, had the short straw of doing that game, which may have been the worst game of the weekend, sneakily worse than Patriots Giants.
It was a sneaky bad weekend.
Yeah, well, some good finishes, but yeah, definitely some clunkers in there. And whoever had that unfortunate assignment of calling Titans Panthers was basically saying, oh, in all our interviews with the Titans this week, they insisted to us they're still alive in this division hunt. They are not giving up hope one bit. And they think the easiest stretch of their schedule is still to come. They've got all these games at home. Watch out for the Titans. And I was like, night.
I can't blame them. I mean, they've seen what the Titans and Jags have done for the last couple decades.
Yeah, I
Anything can
guess
happen.
the Jags last year.
And they're aware of the stakes. They're my golden goose team. They're aware.
Should we? I just briefly. Nolan has a 2-point lead in the wins draft. I'm basically out of it because I picked the Panthers and Patriots. Kale would be in really good shape if the Falcons or Saints were above 500, but they're both 5-6, and therefore he's still in second place. But in general, it's a 2-horse race in the wins draft, and I'm just holding Frank Reich and Bill Belichick's hands as we watch you guys go off into the
Not Frank Reich's hand anymore, buddy.
Yeah. The conglomerate of like, I was reading the names. It's like, I think Marvin, not Marvin Jones. Who's the old Bengals coach?
Marvin Lewis.
Well, I think Marvin Lewis is like doing consulting work. Like they're having 2 different play callers. I forget who they named as interim head coach. It's like 4 guys involved.
Chris Tabor.
Carolina, yeah. Well, they also don't they have Jim Caldwell? Isn't he?
It's Jim Caldwell. It's Jim Caldwell,
Okay,
not Marvin Lewis. Thank you. But yeah, Jackson, it's crazy that you have the Eagles, the only 10-win team in the league, and you are 7 games behind second place.
Who did I have the misfortune of picking in the second round, though, Kale? Who among us advised me to draft them? Because he said the vibes were good in training camp too. It was the Buffalo Bills, the 4th overall pick of the wins draft.
Listen,
I wouldn't have told you.
If you listened to me, you knew how high I was on the vibes of the team that went 5th overall, the Baltimore Ravens. But you listen to some people's vibes over others. It's fine.
Listen, Jackson, you lost. You lost the draft when you took the Patriots ahead of the Dolphins. That was
in hindsight. In hindsight,
the Patriots and Broncos back to back.
The Broncos are good.
Now they're good.
The Broncos are tied for the most wins in that round of the draft. I'm not upset about my Broncos pick one bit.
You can't do the tie for the most picks when Nolan and I each have 11 picks in the last 2 rounds. Or 11 wins in the last 2 rounds.
Look, yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, hand up. I didn't see the Raiders and Gardner Minshew being like the best picks anyone could make in this draft. But if you're gonna try to dog my Broncos pick, I mean, they might win 10 now. They're fine. The Bears weren't a great pick. I'll say that. Obviously, the Panthers weren't a great pick. What's funny is I took the Panthers and Bears, and Nolan immediately said, I had 3 draftable teams left. Those were 2 of them. So now I guess I have to take the Texans.
Oh, no. Go check the tape. I was gushing about Houston.
I just listened to the tape.
I was gushing about Houston regardless. That's who I wanted.
Okay, but you were gushing about them in a 10th round couch.
Maybe so.
I am right about those were the 2 teams that I took off your board, forcing you to take the Texans, and you should be very grateful for me. If you win, it's because I lost. Congrats.
That's undoubtedly true.
No, because the Texans would have just gone off the board. I was taking the Colts no matter what.
Yeah. Well, you did flip a coin between them and the Bucks. So
the Raiders.
No, you flipped 2 coins.
I did?
You just fully let the penny decide the last 2 rounds of your draft.
I love it. I'm so goated.
But the penny is goated. So lines in the sand. Anyone got like strong feelings about the Jags after yesterday, or Texans moving down the list in the AFC? Like, I think that was probably the better game we saw in the early window of all of them. So, like, was that a game we drew strong conclusions from in any way?
Yes. Jags D is sneaky awesome. Like running our numbers early in the year. The DVOA guys did not like Jacksonville, thought they'd be a bottom 10 defense. They were so bad last year, and they really did nothing for improvement, arguably kind of lost guys. They're 5th in defensive DVOA right now. They're top 5. No, they have the best rushing defense. Their linebackers are going nuts. Top 10 in passing. They're kind of popping off right now. We'll talk about one of the Jags heroes later on in the show, but they look good. Offense is starting to click again. It's very funny that Doug Peterson did I bring up on this show that the Jaguars had one of the lowest depth of route run by a wide receiver? It was the second lowest behind the Bengals, and the Bengals were weighed down because of the Joe Burrow days where he couldn't throw. Well, someone told Doug Peterson that, and he kind of just goes like, wow, that's bad. We shouldn't have that. And now they look awesome. So he took that to heart. Everything's
credit for like not being a dickhead and being like, oh, you don't know everything. You're just a reporter. I coach this football team. You know what Brandon Staley would have said if somebody had pointed that out to him.
I'd have so many more numbers to give to Brandon Staley explaining why he's bad. Daniel Popper does a really good job with that. I think he's earned enough credibility in the Chargers locker room. I think he does throw a lot of those numbers out at Staley. But Doug Peterson is just one of the best people at the podium. I think Solak was talking about this at one point where he will just like really detailed breakdown and not sugarcoat that, yeah, every team can see us on film. Fans can now see us on film. We've just got to be open about it all. And I think that's a very commendable attitude to have. But they look awesome. I think they probably need the 1 seed if they really want to go for this thing, which I think they can get. It's not like they've got a big AFC North gauntlet, but besides that, pretty easy stretch down the road. And it's much easier now knowing that the only team they probably have to beat is Baltimore. Like Cincinnati and Cleveland just don't have quarterbacks now. So I'm pumped about them, and Houston still looks like the scrappiest wild card team out there.
Yeah. Finishing up for the Jags with Tampa, Carolina, Tennessee, like that's a beautiful thing. That works for me. They're sort of in the Cowboys camp right now of everything looks great except for the one bad loss to San Francisco, and that's like the only holdup that has people potentially questioning him. But I'm more than happy to give the Jags benefit of the doubt. That game, I felt like they could have won, even though like Stroud was plucky and they almost came back from 2 scores down. I also felt like the Jags could have easily won that by 17, the way they were just throwing it right down the field all day long. And also got nothing going on the ground. If they had any sort of push in the run game, they probably also win that game going away. So another issue for another time. Like, you have Travis Etienne, you should be able to run the ball a little bit. But other than that, like, one of the better Lawrence games we've seen. Lots of guys running open downfield, and Josh Allen, game record yesterday. Totally the only reason they ended up holding off Stroud at the end. Josh Allen being the superior Josh Allen, as you alluded to also in an earlier episode of TMB.
I've alluded to that for the last 3 years. You brought up that Jags Bills game, and I referred to it as the Josh Allen game. And the whole allegory before was about the Leffen Chill and Fox matchup in Smash Melee, where it was just a Fox ditto, and loser could never wear that Fox skin again. Josh Allen should have to go by Joshua Allen now.
I knew it was an obscure gaming reference, and I just wanted to like see if I could bait the specifics out of you. And I'm glad we got it.
It's one of the best leads I've ever written, so not a lot of bait. It was needed.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for the AFC playoff picture. It's going to be really fun to watch down the stretch. On the flip side, NFC side, now's when we maybe dip back into Thanksgiving a little bit, because a few weeks ago we were saying Seahawks, Vikings, are they our teams? If so, great. Vikings play tonight. Maybe tomorrow when you're listening to this, episode will probably be up around the time Monday Night Football ends. And the Seahawks not only drop to 6-5, but now have just a brutal stretch of schedule moving forward where they play the 3 best teams in the NFC over the next 3 weeks. So it's Green Bay. It's the Rams now back to 5-6. There's a lot of teams that are like still kind of in it. You could even throw the 2 terrible NFC East teams in there if you're a real sicko. But what did this weekend tell you about NFC playoff pictures?
That's probably going to get won by the 3 teams that win their division and the Dallas Cowboys. Like, I really don't. I think this could be just the chalkiest chalk that's ever been chalked in terms of like who can make a difference. Seattle looks pretty clearly inferior to San Francisco and just a tier below that whole top 4. Packers look plucky. And I like Jackson's use of plucky as a very like demeaning and derogatory, like, well, look at you, bud. Look at you, you little plucky guy. Like,
hey, Christian Watson, you're still around.
Yeah. I like that. Although I did say that if LaFleur manages to win out and they go 11-6, 10-7, I'd put LaFleur on the back end of a coach of the year conversation, because that's a crazy roster to do that with. But beyond that, no, it really is just so cut and dry. The 4 best teams are Philadelphia, San Francisco, Detroit, and Dallas, and everyone is just a cup below.
So let me flip it on you this way then. Like, forget about who's making the playoffs. Those 4 teams you would presume to be the 4 teams that are playing on NFC divisional weekend. If those are not the 4 teams, which team outside those 4 has the best chance to spoil the fun?
Is
it Green Bay? Is it the Rams? I don't know.
Minnesota could do some freak shit. Like,
dude,
they always
if
do.
Kirk didn't get hurt, I was going to be right. I just want to.
I just keep forgetting that Josh Dobbs doesn't have Justin Jefferson yet. And like the Pastronaut could just ball out. Like, that's what Minnesota does, is they just do weird stuff. And we could do all the schematic breakdown we want. We can rattle off DVA and EPA numbers till the cows come home. And at the end of the day, it's just some witch magic.
Jackson, to answer your
the Giants last year, who are also very much alive, although not only in spirit, because they've won 2 games the past 2 weeks against 2 of the worst teams we've seen, but still around.
To me, I think.
Go, Nolan. Sorry.
I don't know. I'm just looking at these, like, the difference in quarterbacking and offense between the top 4 and the rest is just so stark. Like, to me, I start with. I think the Rams offense is the only thing that I could see just having a streak where they put up like they did yesterday, put up 450 yards and they'd steal a game with Stafford and Kupp and the pedigree there.
That was the only other team I was thinking, because they've kind of just been weighed down by the lack of Stafford, Kupp out the first couple weeks of the season. Them just, even Kyron Williams, like, they've just been such a banged up team that if they can get hot, they're probably the wild card team that rolls off and wins a big playoff game upset.
Yeah, there's just no unit that like scares you. Like, I thought for a second the Falcons have that, weirdness factor to pull off some weird upset kind of thing, but like, come on, let's be real here. Like, they're not.
I will say it would crush me, because the way this is mapping out in my head, it's that the Cowboys roll against Atlanta. Minnesota gets Detroit, and I'm giving them the higher seed because they have the game up. And if the Rams sneak in, oh no, sorry, I ruined my own bit. I was just going to say that I have a deep feeling in my gut that if the Rams make the playoffs, that they would kick the Lions out, and that would make me sad. And now I don't want the Rams in.
That'd be hysterical.
It wouldn't be hysterical. It would be bad.
Suck. That's brutal. The Rams' remaining schedule is really strange. Like, it's not – most of it seems easy, but it's also got, like, two of maybe the three best teams in the league on it. So it goes P.J. Walker and the Cleveland Browns, then the Ravens at Baltimore. Then they have this nice little run of home for Washington, home for the Saints, at the Giants, but then they have to finish against the 49ers. So either they're winning one of those two really tough games or they're banking on getting in at 9-8, which seems like some 9-8 team is making a wild card, but still, you wish you didn't have to play the Ravens and 49ers both on the road.
That Niners Week 18 game screams of the outcome of that game determines if they play each other in the first round of the playoffs or not.
That's
what's going to happen.
Flex. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very possible. Shanahan McVay always gets weird as well.
Mm-hmm.
Should we talk about the real game that happened yesterday? The most important game that happened yesterday, the best loss of the weekend. I submit to you that the New England Patriots had the best moment of their season yesterday. Chad Ryland, down for the cause. And I don't care that he definitely didn't miss that on purpose and is probably going to end up cut. And that's really sad because the ends justify the means. There was no earthly way that the Patriots could win that game yesterday, and thankfully they did not. And now we have a nice, clear path to a top 3 draft pick.
Can I be honest with you, Jackson? I'm not happy about the loss anymore. I texted bang in our group chat when Chad Ryland missed. I popped off. It feels dirty and it feels bad, and I don't like it. And it's just kind of an indictment on the whole, like, last 3 years of New England, because it's just the back-to-back games where you hold a team to 10 points or less and lose both games is crazy. That's just a waste of everyone's time defensively. The just sheer dearth of offensive talent on this roster is deeply disappointing.
It's
the
impressive.
The not give a shit attitude of, like, Michael Onwenu playing tackle and not having anyone on the offensive line, and, like, Trent Brown just not even playing anymore. Like, you botched this so badly. And then Mac Jones is a broken man. Mac Jones is so deeply broken. And you could have, like, worse Kirk. You could have, like, mid-career Derek Carr. You could have that if you wanted to. And you've just chosen not to help him at all. Like, it was the biggest FU to just sign Patricia and Judge and just say, yeah, we'll figure this out. It's fine. Jacoby Myers is so much better than Juju Smith-Schuster. Nelson Aguilar looks normal again. Jonnu Smith has fallen off recently because Arthur Smith has started playing Kyle Pitts more. But Jonnu Smith for a while was like a top 10 tight end by total production in the league. Like, every weapon they let go has done miles better since leaving New England. They have one fun guy right now. It's Pop Douglas. Dude, do you know how sad it is that Bailey Zappi finished with an ADOT below 0? Below 0, Jackson. Below the line of scrimmage.
That's just the game one DeVito. The uptick is coming. You just have to, throw your screens for a while until coach trusts you. And maybe it helps if you be, like, a little more Italian. So maybe Bailey Zappi can get on that.
I don't know who the Patriot, like, it's a very unenviable task to replace greatness like Belichick. So that makes the job a harder fill. And Gerard Mayo is good, but I don't know who he's bringing in as an offensive coordinator that's just going to turn this all around. What else do you want to? Where else do you want to go from here? How desirable is this landscape right now for Drake May to come in? And now, like, I'm even getting more sold on, you kind of have to do the take Marvin Harrison no matter what, and then take Penix or trade up for Penix or take Nix and, like, figure it out. Or just, like, punt even more and draft Jordan Travis, who's going to be done for the year on an ACL tear. Just let him develop for a full year. Like now I'm just trying to figure out how you maximize this the most, because there's no real good talent right now on this Patriots roster that's going to make development easy. And the fact that the greatest coach of all time has just fully eschewed development has got to be pretty insulting to this franchise a little bit. And I don't know. There's no one in the building that can really help this out.
Yeah, I mean, look, at some point we had to have the conversation of, we love Bill Belichick. He's been incredible. He's also in his 70s and trying to do two jobs at once. And after a certain point, there's only so much a guy can do and learn. And like, you know, if Bill Belichick was in his mid 50s and trying to do GM and head coaching jobs at once in today's NFL, like maybe he'd be able to pull it off, but like he can't pull it off anymore. And it's okay. Like it's time to rip the Band-Aid off. And, you know, maybe it doesn't work out. Maybe Gerard Mayo doesn't hire a good offensive coordinator, but like, I just think at least arriving at this moment of, okay, it's laid bare, we're one of the worst teams in the league and we're moving on fully from the current head coach, quarterback regime, etc., assuming that Belichick's gone next year, which, goodness, this would be an interesting pod if he's not. But I'm okay with all of it. Like, I'm really, truly at least like at peace with the fact that they're not trying to run back the same formula again next year. Maybe it won't work. Maybe we'll be miserable for years. But like at least there's a chance we won't be, and at least we won't be stuck in like this cycle of the past 3 years anymore, because that was just weird and bad and not fun.
I don't know, man. I said the second the Raiders lateral shit happened with Chandler Jones that this team was unserious and it was time to just blow everything up. And if they listened then, we wouldn't have this problem.
It's true. That's usually the mistake of like both good – long-time good and long-time bad teams is not recognizing, you know, early enough that it's time to blow it up. Rarely do teams regret blowing it up. And the Patriots probably should have done a little bit sooner. That is true.
I have 3 words for you guys. Boo, freaking who. You guys are sitting here whining about getting the opportunity to draft both
I'm not whining.
Drake May or Caleb Williams. I'm aware, you know. Kale is just sitting here whining.
It's just like I don't like rooting for
everybody, and you the 1 year you guys freaking stink is the year there are 2 potential franchise quarterbacks. Get over yourself, man.
Dude, I'm kind of doubting Caleb.
Yeah,
don't do it.
It's time for.
Don't overthink this. Caleb. People doubted Stroud for some stupid reason. Look at this man. Don't doubt. He's in a terrible situation. What do you want from him?
Yeah, I don't know what to make of Caleb because like. Nothing that's gone wrong this year can be held against him whatsoever. His team is just awful. But so will the Patriots offense be if they draft him. So it's kind of a 1-to-1 comparison.
I don't want to make the Mahomes comp, but the stuff he had to do at UCLA with all of his big play hunting does remind me a little bit of how Mahomes fell in the draft, because that's what he did at Texas Tech because he knew his defense wasn't going to help him out.
You know who else got drafted as the second quarterback off the board solely off of big play hunting?
You mean Wilson. The guy who did it for 1 year in a COVID year, not the guy who's been doing it for like 3 years?
Counterpoint.
What, Zach Wilson didn't win a Heisman? I thought Zach Wilson won a Heisman. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know. I can't win this. I don't think.
I don't even know who I want, Kale. I think I want. I don't have any of them.
You guys have had Mac Jones playing quarterback for 3 years, the prototypical boring quarterback that probably wasn't worth the first-round pick. And now you have a chance to draft an actual fun dude. And you're like, nah, let's trade back and draft another mediocre dude. Don't do that to yourself, Kale.
Penix is fun.
Don't do this to yourself.
You'd get a wider – dude, what is more fun? Like white guy from UNC or A.J. Brown's body with Devontae Adams as route running?
Listen, I understand the hesitancy because I saw Mitch Trubisky play, but he's not Mitch Trubisky.
I know he's not. I know he's got a better arm and he can do more and he's in a better offense.
You know you would just waste Marvin Harrison. Don't ruin that. Don't ruin him. Think of him. If you love him, let him go.
If we take quarterback, he's going to be wasted.
I can't let him go to Arizona. No. There's no love there.
Arizona
Go
did
to
a nice
Chicago.
job yesterday.
Let him
to
go to
admit they were
Chicago
like,
then.
We'll tank. We'll look good
That
for the
would be
first quarter,
sick.
but like we still know the assignment. We got our picks this year. We'll tank. So I'm a little bit threatened by them still in the tankathon.
Who?
Arizona.
No, they're gonna win. They're fine.
Kyler's
look good.
They won
They're just
yesterday and they
playing good
lost by
teams.
30.
Kyler has not been good.
Kyler's doing his Kyler thing where he's like, I'll get you a rushing touchdown. I'll put up some good fantasy numbers, but like, probably not going to win.
Dude, they lost to two good teams. They lost to two good teams. It's fine. If they lose to the Steelers, it's a problem.
They're going to lose to the Steelers. Have you seen the Steelers this year?
Yeah, I refuse to believe it.
They don't lose.
I don't know. My biggest worry is that the Patriots beat the Chargers and it's all for naught because they like Belichick somehow just owns Justin Herbert.
Everybody owns Justin Herbert.
It's gonna be such a fun.
Belichick's gonna go from owning Justin Herbert to coaching Justin Herbert. It's gonna be sick.
Based. Let's do some game balls. I think it's time.
You can't.
I'm gonna make you go first since you just said that. Go ahead.
Kyren Williams, 200 yards from scrimmage. Easiest one of the year, in my opinion.
Yeah. We had a 3-person Google Doc this week, and I wanted to like maybe leave some of the obvious ones behind. And obviously, if nobody said Kyren Williams, I would ditch my other plans and take him. But you're absolutely right. Easiest one of the year.
Yeah,
I'm giving my offensive game ball to Josh Allen. You can't stop me. He deserves something in his life.
He's going to, just not your Josh Allen.
That was great. Honestly, I think that's the first time in show history that a losing player's gotten an offensive game ball. We gave him the special teams.
Did you see that man? Did you see that man play football? They gave him a penalty when he got horse collared. He needs our help.
He does. He's earned it.
We can help him. The three of us, we can help him. I agree.
Gabe came so close to getting one.
I stop it. I can't do this anymore.
It's Gabe. Why are you out on Gabe now?
What do you mean, why?
He did nothing wrong. He's just running his route.
The wrong way.
I don't know. Josh, hold it for a second longer.
What do you? It was. Oh, I can't do this.
Read your receiver.
How about
you go off Gabe? Gabe doesn't go off you.
If you when Gabe does catch his touchdown, if you already didn't think they were doomed to give up the game-tying field goal at least, when you saw Diggs do the fly Eagles fly, then you really had to know they were cooked.
Kale, did you see that last week when Gabe Davis got 0 targets that the Bills gave him a game ball?
What?
That happened.
It did not.
Joe Brady gave Davis a game ball after the Jets win. After he had
like when
targets.
the Giants made a hype video for Kenny Golladay last year because he had a good block. Is that what this is all about?
Dude, I can't.
I go.
Nice. Mine's going to be Pat Freiermuth. Did not have a touchdown, but Pat Freiermuth coming in yesterday had 63 yards on the season. Missed a bunch of games due to injury, but also just hadn't done anything in the Matt Canada offense. Matt Canada gets gassed. He gets 120 yards on 11 catches, finishing, I believe, as TE1 for the week, at least in full-point PPR formats. So Pat Freiermuth, who I have always thought is good and was happy to see succeed, will get an offensive game ball. Go Steelers.
Congrats.
Defense.
Go Steelers. It's crazy that the just sheer amount of offensive talent was not just like a collection of busts, but actually good. Muth, Najee Harris, George Pickens, Deontay Johnson. Crazy. They were all just held
two
back.
Good running backs. It's nuts. It's a real offense with maybe an okay quarterback, depending on how he plays for the rest of the year. I'll reserve judgment.
Defense is easy. Defense, like we shouldn't even name the rest of them. It should just go to one guy.
Exactly.
Deron
Bland. Yes. I was worried you were going to say Josh Allen.
Yeah. Well, I thought he was saying Josh Allen. So yeah, I mean, Deron Bland, the three of us all agree, like, if there was only one game ball to give, it's Deron Bland. Shout out. It was, who was it? It was Nance, right? On the call
Nance.
for, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Unbelievable call. Like, sensing the minute the ball left Sam Howell's hands that this was very possibly going to be a pick six. And then shout out to Deron Bland for making, who was it? I think Brian Robinson and Terry McLaurin just crash into each other on the way into the end zone. Like, unnecessary, but very funny.
that was unreal. That return was sick. My favorite part was Romo just being like, oh my God, what a call. Just like he did.
Yeah, very
Just like he did.
very nice to ruin a great call by calling out the great call.
It's a fourth
The first
wall
time he
that you
said
should
it, I thought it was good. But then he continued, just like the Naheem Hines touchdown when he's just like, oh, what a moment. And it just ruined the moment. Tony Romo, not a game ball this week.
Good shout out to the camera person though for grabbing Dan Quinn just freaking out.
Oh yes, hell
that
yes.
was a good shot. Man, dude, Bland is
Some
awesome.
good and some bad in the media this week.
I was doing an off-season project on like quarterback pick sixes off of the whole Acho. Justin Herbert has the most pick sixes of any quarterback, or like has 3 pick sixes blowing the game. And I had always thought from the defensive perspective, it's very much a schematic situation where you jump a screen route or an out route and there's no one in front of you, or it kind of just breaks your way a little lucky and you only have to make like you take a crazy bounce that puts you in a good position and then you have to beat fewer people. Bland is one of the few players outside of like Javon Holland with the 99-yard pick six, is one of the few players that has like truly earned his pick sixes. Just like the athleticism it takes to kind of do the roll and go, the like 3 or 4 tackles he broke at the end, or 3 or 4 players he avoided at the end of his most recent one, the collision you talked about. Like he's really fighting for him, and it's very impressive. It is more athleticism I've seen in a pick six than I think most probably give credit for within like the defensive side of the pick six. So hats off to him. He's depoy front runner right now. It's very special that Javon Diggs was able to go down in practice and Deron Bland was able to step in, not only seamlessly, but step in enough to win a depoy probably.
When's the last time a corner won a depoy? I feel like
Gilmore.
Okay, yeah, that's absolutely right. Good call on both of your parts. But I don't know. I'm not. First of all, I always feel like the odds are like all over it with these things, and I haven't checked the odds at all. But I almost feel like edge rushers dominate depoy again nowadays. So I'd be curious to see if like breaking a record like this, which is, not the entirety of the position, but also like as game breaking as anything you can do in the sport is enough, because it is like transcendent to be able to house it every single time you get your hands on it as a defensive player.
Well, I will say on one hand, PFF has kind of charted this a little bit better, but on one hand, the edge rush class is so good right now. There's so many people with like between 11 and 13 sacks 2 weeks or 12 weeks into the season that it's tough to kind of really break all of this up. But I don't know. Bland is also kind of cooking in terms of like I said, 7 pass breakups. He's got at least 5 interceptions at this point. 7 pass breakups, 7 interceptions. He's also dropped an additional 3 picks. He's allowing less than 50% completion rating. Like he's kind of just cooking right now. And I'm not going to start adjusting snaps on Sports Info Solutions to give you more detailed stats and tell you where he ranks. 7 pass breakups isn't the most by Sports Info Solutions. Not even most on the Cowboys. That would go to Gilmore. But yeah, with that kind of record, I think that's like, if we're talking pure value of most valuable defensive player,
Scored
I don't
36
know how you
points.
can beat 5 touchdowns
30
on
points.
top of just being a very good corner.
Yeah, they've
too.
pulled depoy odds off the board because Myles Garrett might be hurt. But after Friday, Deron Bland was still at plus 1,200, while Micah Parsons, his teammate, was at plus 225. So they really don't believe in giving it to corners right now.
I think the Myles Garrett injury, the Max Crosby injury, like those guys are going to be down a peg. TJ Watt is probably especially if Pittsburgh keeps winning these weird games and makes the playoffs, that's probably the real threat. But and
Who's got a dark horse stolen? Josh Allen.
Nope.
Josh Allen right now is his 12.5 sacks are third or fourth in the total leaderboard right now, and he is just been awesome. He gets my defensive game ball. 2.5 sacks against Stroud, six total pressures, handful of important quarterback hits down the stretch. He's been cooking. The fact that Jacksonville's dumped a lot of talent into edge. They took a worse edge at number 1 overall last year. And Josh Allen has quickly blossomed alongside Tavon Austin into one of the – not Tavon Austin. Tavon – dude, I'm so tired. It's not Tavon Austin.
The winner while you gather yourself there, the winner of Defensive Player of the Year is going to be whoever between Deron Bland and whether he gets pick 6 of Jared Goff on Saturday night in Week 17 in that big primetime game with Detroit, whether Deron Bland gets pick 6 or Micah Parsons gets the strip sack return for a touchdown. Whoever does that will be DPOI. That's my bold prediction.
Everyone's out on Jared Goff. Sad to see.
Trayvon Walker. It was Trayvon Walker. I didn't know his name then. I don't know his name now. It's kind of a problem.
Number 1 overall pick in an NFL draft.
Yeah, and who's mattered more? Hutch and Tibbs. At least those are easy names to break up. Not going to call them Walk. Just easier. But yeah, Josh Allen.
Just Austin.
The basis of one of my greatest leads ever written. And still cooking to this day. And he's kind of solidified himself in that, upper echelon of edge rushers. Special teams game ball before I talk about another random Rams receiver.
It's tough. Nolan, did you have a defensive game ball?
Yeah, Deron Bland. And Micah Hyde for running away from Jalen Hurts.
That's smart. Special teams.
Ryan Stonehouse.
Brother of Syracuse punter. Jack Stonehouse, I think his name is.
Couldn't tell you. Did not watch Syracuse football this year.
They are brothers, though. That is a real thing. So maybe Syracuse could be good next year because the punt god brother goes there.
Well, when you're playing against the Panthers and it's a bad offense against a good defense, you got to worry about field position. Ryan Stonehouse is the best guy to give you field position in the league. 7 punts, 5 of those inside the 20, 3 of those inside the 10. One of those punts inside the 10 set up an easy little possession for a strip sack on Bryce Young that led to one of Tennessee's only 2 touchdowns on the day. So
scored by whom?
I don't know.
Both Derrick Henry, right?
Doesn't matter to me. All I know is Stonehouse.
He had at one point he had 12 rushes for 18 yards and 2 touchdowns or something crazy like that.
Damn right he did.
He's hard to bring down because he is large. I will give him that.
He's not that hard to bring down, though, when there's 5 guys in the backfield with the state of the Tennessee offensive line this year. But if you need 1 yard, he'll get you yards still. That is for sure the strength of a Derrick Henry. But we're talking special teams. So I mean, I probably should have gone first because people right now are like, why the hell didn't you talk about this guy yet? Jake Elliott, maybe the 59-yard driving rain field goal to send the game to overtime. That, I mean, regardless of which team you may or may not be a fan of, how upset that moment may have made you, that was one hell of a kick.
Yeah, it's kind of tough to, as much as I want to blame McDermott, and like there are things to blame him for. At the end of the day, Elliott hit a 60-yarder in the rain. Like, what are you gonna do?
It's pretty good.
Kind of messed up. You'd ice him. Like, why did you need to ice him? That thing looks like a curveball. That had the worst ball flight of any 60-yard field goal I've ever seen.
That's why it's not like it's almost the direct opposite of a curveball. I couldn't believe it was the fastest 60-yard field goal I think I've ever seen. It was like a sinker.
But there was movement on it. It basically did a full like barrel roll.
Little left to righter.
Man,
it's like crazy. It's Tiger Woods stinger from 2004. Keep it under the wind, little left to right on it.
Jackson, I'm going to drop kayfabe for a second, and we're going to do uniform balls. I got to talk to you, man. In our show notes, you wrote, Buffalo, Philadelphia can be anyone's. I'll use Pittsburgh, Cincinnati as my backup.
You didn't vibe with Pittsburgh, Cincinnati yesterday?
Are you kidding me?
What the hell is wrong with that?
That game is on my TV right now. It is disgusting. It is a bad visual.
You're upset about the Bengals orange?
It's about the Bengals. It's about the Bengals orange on orange with black pants and orange socks, with just like the amount of black in the Steelers uniform. Most of these guys have like the black side stripe into the black socks with like a black t-shirt underneath showing. It's just ugly. Like the colors are too close. The whole rest of it's black and white. This is an eyesore. This is disgusting. I'm ashamed of you. You usually have good uniform takes. I was going to text you this was my game uniform or uniform game as a joke to get you mad the way I used to do. Like, that's how bad I thought this game was.
First of all, any game involving the Steelers, you can never say that about jokingly because the Steelers are immaculate.
What about the contrast?
I don't think the contrast is bad. Orange and yellow happens all the time in that division specifically, and we usually say good things about it. They play the Browns and Bengals 4 games a year. I liked the Bengals orange on orange because we usually see them wear black jerseys. Like, we kind of forget they have the orange jerseys, and I just thought it was nice.
I was a bad game to break them out. I think it was just a bad look.
And I like the black pants too because I don't really love the white pants with the tiger stripes on the side a lot of the time. I think it blends weird. I liked the black pants. It does it for me.
Agree to disagree. I'm just disappointed. I'm just disappointed in you.
I'll stand on the table for that game. I think those are 2 top half uniform teams, and I think they showed well.
I think the Bengals orange is a bottom 3 uniform in the league. Like if we're just dropping all, 96 uniforms on the table, like home, road, and alternate. I think the Bengals orange. I think that specific combination of everything is one of the worst uniforms in the league.
Well, it's going to be tough to be bottom 3 because the Jets wore their all blacks this weekend. Reminded me of how bad that is. So
I don't mind that one. I'm not trying to be antagonistic here. I don't mind that one.
Oof, it was rough. I knew they were doomed anyway when Tim Boyle was playing quarterback because lest we forget, like Tim Boyle threw I think 13 touchdowns and 35 interceptions in college, but they were extra doomed when they brought out the All Blacks.
Do you know Tim Boyle has never played a season of football, college or pro, where he has thrown more touchdowns than interceptions?
He has not. And it's not like he's played at some particularly grueling college schedules either.
Why does he have a job?
Well,
I know now with Aaron Rodgers. How did he get this far?
We know the answer. Aaron Rodgers has ruined the Jets in every conceivable way.
Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback, is supposed to bail out Aaron Rodgers, the GM, and it just hasn't worked. Alan Lazard to help.
Aaron Rodgers, the GM, is the only Aaron Rodgers they got. Oh, things are not well. Things are not well in Jetland. We didn't even barely talk about them this week, but
Why
it was
bother?
bad.
Yeah, who needs to? But yeah, your uniform game that could be anyone's. It's mine. I'm gonna force you to take Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. Yeah, Buffalo was awesome. The Buffalo all whites, great. The Philly throwbacks, magical, and somehow got better in the rain.
Yeah, the rain really helped.
It did. God, that was such a good game.
The Bills just got even better too when Josh just got ripped in half.
Yeah. Yeah, it did.
I didn't even realize before that the Eagles wear gray pants with the Kelly greens. Like, I was just so laser focused on the Kelly greens that nothing else mattered to me. Now that I saw it for the second time, I was like, "Ooh, gray pants!"
Yeah, I like
very nice.
Like those a lot.
I liked the like black and white eagle at midfield, like mostly washed away by the rain, and you can almost see the regular Eagles logo underneath it because the paint is wearing away so bad. I liked that, and I liked the weird like super throwback script they had in the end zone, and it's just all good.
I'm sorry.
It does give me a little Jetsy vibes. I'm not gonna lie, but it's not their fault.
They do it better.
I don't know which. I don't know if we're supposed to reveal that we're watching this Monday Night Football game or not. How was 10 minutes past the first quarter?
I'm not watching. Fully admit.
We're 10 minutes in. We're 10 minutes into the game, and there's 5:45 left in the first quarter.
They're moving. They're cooking.
That is a clock burn.
Good for them.
Yeah. All right, head scratchers.
Nolan, you got Nolan. We got to give Nolan a uniform.
Sorry, you're right.
It was a rough slate this week. Not gonna lie, the Ravens and Chargers had potential, and I think they kind of squandered it. So I'm just gonna go with a classic. Give me the Chiefs Raiders get the game ball. That poor child whose parents dressed him up as a cornucopia of racial stereotypes. He is excluded from this. He does not get the trophy.
That was going to be like maybe my head scratcher was like, how'd that kid get there?
I was looking at these games and I was like, I think that's my uniform matchup, but I don't know if I want to give it to that because it also inspired the kid to wear that outfit. But God, the uniforms were sweet. So
they are. I've always been a staunch supporter of that uniform matchup specifically.
Kale, what is this Bears Vikings uni matchup like?
Oh, it's good. I like the Bears whites more than I like the Bears blues. They're white jerseys, blue pants, white socks. It looks like my high school uniform. And the Vikes are in purple, white pants, purple socks, and
that's
they're
solid.
Yeah,
that's
no,
right
it's very.
solid.
There's not a lot of like color cohesion. There's not a lot of like fake color narratives I can draw or like parallels I can draw. It's just like Vikings wearing their best uniforms with the Bears wearing their best uniforms, and it's making for like a B game.
Very good.
Hate.
Love describing my favorite. It's funny enough to do a uniform game segment on audio medium. It's even better to describe a current uniform game that's going on to my co-host that can only hear and cannot see on an audio medium. So we're breaking boundaries here, folks.
It's pretty good, honestly. Yeah. I'm gonna go last in head scratchers just to like make sure all the bases get covered this week because I feel like there's some that may need to be talked about. So in that spirit, Kale, why don't you go first?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. It's Sean McDermott. Just
Stolen
pissing
down.
rain.
Who's that?
Just pouring rain. A drive that is starting to actively stall out and not go well.
Nearly ended the game on an AJ Brown fumble, which we haven't talked about yet. That was really close.
I'm not even mad. He didn't catch it. So.
No, that wasn't a catch.
It was close, but it was not a catch. So I've moved on to the 18 other issues.
Yeah, but 4th and 17, Buffalo 41. 2 timeouts left for Buffalo. And they just ice him. He burned the timeout before. I forgot. He burned the timeout before on the false start, which I'm not sure. I guess that was like to get guys to figure out like and get the right matchup. I don't know if he was forced to burn that because of the penalty or what, but it's to stop a 10-second runoff. But there was no reason to burn that second one. And it ended up resulting in Buffalo taking over the 25 with a timeout in their pocket with 20 seconds on the clock and Josh Allen just kneeling it out.
It gets more and more indefensible every second of the day. They didn't
just
even
try. Like, just don't be a coward. Your offense is the thing that's clicking. This is a weak secondary. Just try.
Any team, like, I'll bash you for being a coward, like the Bills, whose entire last 2 years of their history has been marked by a team scoring with no timeouts and 7 fewer seconds. Actually, they did have timeouts. That's a lot. But regardless, 7 fewer seconds and you're not even trying. Like, that's just the jokes write themselves.
Gabe Davis got open as much as I've given him shit. He was open every time he wanted to be down the field.
Dude,
we have also Stephon Diggs.
They
didn't even try.
The Eagles are genuinely bad at defending deep passing, even though the only players they were able to keep this year in free agency were their veteran cornerbacks or veteran safeties. I'm sorry. They cannot defend the deep end of the field. Gabe Davis got open whenever he wanted. He was open on that touchdown he misread.
And we also haven't talked about the Eagles in this episode because Nolan's a Bills fan. We've covered it from their side, which is totally fair for us. But they are 10-1, and they are still very strange. Not just the defensive issues, but Hurts has been limping around on one leg all the time. That was his first rushing touchdown that wasn't a 1-yard tush push last night, was the game ender. All this, they're 10-1. Jalen Hurts is lighting the world on fire in terms of rushing touchdowns. But if you actually watch the games, AJ Brown's been bracketed the last 2 weeks and hasn't done anything. Suddenly Devontae Smith's finally getting a little more involved. But they run all these Kenneth Gainwell stretch runs and, design QB runs on 2nd and 10. And they just put themselves in 3rd and 9 all the time for no reason. The Eagles love going 3 and out and then showing up when it matters. But it's a weird team. It definitely doesn't feel like a 10-1 team if you actually sit and watch an Eagles game. It's very confusing. But they're good.
Yeah, it's very weird to see a team
situation
in a close game make good decisions and win the game in the end. It's very off-putting to me.
Shots wrote about them for DVOA, and somehow because of how DVOA is written, it puts the Eagles and Steelers basically next to each other. And there's no real, the Eagles defense has been solid, but not fantastic. And a lot of it is just driven by turnover luck and just an inability to generate turnovers. So I don't know. I don't think they're that bad, but I weirdly enough think I can't even say that. They're the 4th best defense in that top 4 of the
they're better than Detroit.
Dude, Detroit's not been bad.
They got carved up by Christian Watson.
Stud.
Yeah, but he's back now, so it's cool.
Jaden Reed, the new everything guy. Yeah, the Packers are sick. Jordan Love is the right pick. I don't even want to hear it anymore. It's funny. Nolan, you've never met Tosh. Caleb, you had one podcast with Tosh. Tosh is so in on Jordan Love. He's
good for him.
Nobody's ever been more happy with their quarterback than Tosh Myers is with fourth year quarterback Jordan Love. It's really inspiring. I hope he continues to light the world on fire. Nolan, you got a head scratcher?
Well, Kale stole my valor there, but I kind of want to go officiating here, but not in the sense that the referees cost the Bills the game. Just more in the sense that like these dudes don't know what they're doing anymore.
That's a classic. We love to break that one out. So if you got some examples, throw them at us.
I hate it. But like, my head has been warped by Sean McDermott for the last few weeks, and I can't get out of it. I don't know. I guess not firing Staley yet is a bit of a head scratcher.
Yeah.
Not firing McDermott. There we go. Terry Pagula, where are you? Why have you not done what needs to be done? Starting Tim Boyle. I'm just lifting him off. I don't really have a definitive head scratcher here.
You were my only chance to not make this my head scratcher, because I had like a bigger one that was like maybe a little more meaningful, but Jonathan Mingo is my head scratcher. I'm scrapping all the cards.
I love it. I love you, Jonathan Mingo.
What are you doing, dude? He's running towards the sideline, and then he like throws his entire body out of bounds.
I've never
so funny
all week.
Jackson or Caleb, have you not seen this? Or
no,
I
finally watched it pre-pod. I've never seen. No, what I meant by I never seen it. I've never seen a player like kind of just lose control of their limbs like that.
It's so funny.
He like in order to try, because he has no idea where the sideline is, which it's kind of your job as a receiver is to know where the sideline is, and then in a last-ditch attempt to catch the ball, which he thinks is thrown behind him because he doesn't realize that he's near the sideline, he then like flings his whole body counterclockwise or not counterclockwise, but away from the direction of the ball coming in in order to try and catch it, and somehow ends up with like his entire lower half out of bounds by the time the ball gets there. It's really special stuff.
Is that going to be the defining image of the Frank Reich tenure? Is there a defining image?
Yeah, that's the problem. Is I don't think like all 22 footage of like an incomplete pass from week 11. Like, no, they're if that's an indictment on the Frank Reich tenure, because there was nothing like, Urban Meyer. So many moments where it was like, wow, this dude's terrible, can't coach, terrible chemistry with the team, like just bad dude, whatever. Like, there's nothing memorable about Frank Reich. Not an in-game moment, not an off-the-field moment. Like, he just came and went.
It's fascinating.
Never happened.
I guess the fact that he only got one win, and it was against CJ Stroud, is probably the defining moment, which is hysterical.
I agree. That's a good point. Did the bare minimum to try and salvage that pick. But also, like, head scratcher wise, unofficial head scratcher was a color commentary from this week. Jason Garrett stepping in on Sunday Night Football for Collinsworth. The moment where Tarico is trying to go to commercial in an LA sunset, and then Jason Garrett just goes, "That's pretty nice, huh?" And then he laughs at all his own jokes. He says every football cliche under the sun. And he just like kind of throws three random thoughts together in the middle of a replay with no connection between them whatsoever. But then you have Tony Romo, who can't figure out what the score is, and he's too busy worrying about whether or not Jim had a good call. And then to cap it all off, Greg Olsen stuck his entire hand inside a turducken on camera this week, and that really blew my mind. Color commentary is in a weird spot right now.
I missed that.
When I heard Garrett was on Sunday Night Football, I hit the mute button so fast and did not listen to a second. I've never felt more good about a decision in my life.
Yeah, I watched. Panned Garrett moment of the year was a college game where it was I think it was Notre Dame, Ohio State, and it was Jack Collinsworth and Jason Garrett, and everyone was just slam dunking on it on Twitter the entire night. So for Jason Garrett's next moment to be him replacing Jack Collinsworth's dad in the booth is a weird little twist of fate.
I watched the game on a Peloton, listening to a Twitch stream of something totally unrelated. So I missed the entirety of the Jason Garrett experience until the fourth quarter. And it's white noise. It's football white noise. It's really funny. Romo, I think, has been better this year. I think he's like still kind of annoying, but I think he's been better than he was the last couple of years. And I just fully miss the turducken thing. And I kind of watch games on mute now with like music in the background or just one broadcast going. So I've missed truly nearly everything that you've talked about outside the Romo thing. So glad I could contribute.
And also, Chris Collinsworth was taking Sunday to like spend time with his family, but his son was working the game, which I thought was funny.
That was great.
Oh, can I just add one more head scratcher?
Of course.
This is just one because I was accidentally clicking around on Twitter, but the quarterback position for the Carolina Panthers. We've talked too much about it now, but I just want to run you down the full list of everything that's going on. Spent a third on Will Grier. Signed Teddy Bridgewater for $33 million guaranteed. Cut Cam Newton. Traded a second, fourth, and sixth round pick for Sam Darnold. Traded Teddy Bridgewater for a sixth rounder after signing him for $33 million guaranteed. Picked up Darnold's $19 million option. Signed Cam Newton. Spent a third on Matt Corral. Traded for Baker Mayfield. Cut Baker Mayfield. Also cut Cam Newton. Drafted Young over CJ Stroud after trading up for him. Or after trading up into the first round pick and losing DJ Moore in the process. And firing Frank Reich after 11 games. The coach specifically brought in for quarterback development. Just had to run that one by everyone.
And somehow PJ Walker like won a couple games for them in there too. Somehow.
XFL legend PJ Walker.
Brown starting QB against the Chiefs in the playoffs. PJ Walker.
That is crazy. I fully thought they were two different people. Like until dusk.
Wait, what?
I was like, oh yeah, PJ Walker, that guy, and just never put together like,
the current guy.
Panthers quarterback from last year. Didn't want to admit it till right now.
I'm impressed. Well, we're not doing a Monday Night Football preview because it's happening right now. Kale, how far are we into the game now? 15 minutes?
I don't know. I've got a Deal Dash commercial on. I'm not pumped about it.
Nice. Cheap seats. Nolan, welcome to Cheap Seats. This is
cheap.
I'm excited about this.
Is it me to you or you to me?
So last week I gave it to you.
Yeah.
So this week you give it to both of us.
Yeah, I'll let you guys hash this one out. This will be fun. So
Can you not hold your mic to your ear?
Yeah, you guys list off how cheap the tickets are at various games, and we pick which one we want to go to, right?
Smart guy. Look at you. All right. Looking at this. Do we let you splurge for 53? No, we don't. We're going to cap it at 50 this week. Let's go bottom to top. Oh, wait. No. We'll cap you at 50. There was a 53 and a 51. Games are very cheap this week.
Excellent.
And we're removing the Cowboys trap because they're an auto throw out. But their tickets are as low as $18 for Thursday night against Seattle. But
fake, funny money.
That's a scam, and we won't allow it. That's why I also just realized that's why you see all the people rushing into Cowboys Stadium that you never see anywhere else, because they're one of the only stadiums with general standing only space.
Kale, this is a big week for Kale catching up to the rest of the world. I'm impressed.
No, those videos have never had that context. I'm mad. Whatever. I'm not gonna talk about this. $24.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to phrase this one. $24. The Atlanta Falcons at the New York Jets.
I'm intrigued.
No, you shouldn't be. Jackson, there's a deli around the corner from your apartment where you could spend $24 more effectively than Jets tickets.
I think I can see Kale being intrigued by that, but no human should be intrigued by that.
No, I'm fully out now. $33. Carolina Panthers at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. For $1 more,
Baker revenge game.
you can see what has to be white trash Nirvana. It's Gardner Minshew at Will Levis, Colts at Texans.
What the heck?
Mr. Mullet versus the man who puts mayo in his coffee.
Holy cow.
Yeah, that's got to be something.
White trash Nirvana.
$46. This would have been such a sick game like 2 weeks ago. It's the Cincinnati Bengals at the Jacksonville Jaguars. And if you're really looking to break the bank for $50, Cleveland Browns at Los Angeles Rams.
Oh my God.
I don't want to go to SoFi.
I was deceived at the enjoyment of this segment.
It gets tough sometimes. This is why we get paid the big bucks, because sometimes you got to make the tough calls in cheap seats. It's not always fun.
If you get paid the big bucks, why are we at the cheap seats?
Called budgeting.
Yeah. Come on now. The slush fund's got to pay for deli sandwiches too, not just football tickets.
Oh my God.
Oh man, I just can't get white trash Nirvana out of my head. I think I'm going Colts Titans. I think that's fun. Maybe it's because I'm a Jonathan Taylor fantasy owner, but like I could enjoy myself at that. I don't think I can enjoy myself at any of those other ones.
I'll go with the Baker Mayfield revenge game against Carolina. I think there's potential for that to be funny. Like Jackson, I could see the next Jonathan Mingo sideline straddle in person.
You could. That's the thing. Like if you're going for the Panthers, you're only going for comedic potential.
Oh yeah, Baker might plant a flag at midfield. Like
he might.
Mike Evans might hit 1,000 yards. Is he close yet?
I'd still go Bengals Jaguars. Like you're watching a good team with two sides of the ball, and
on one side
I'm morbidly curious about the about how things shake out for Cincinnati. However, I will note that because we capped the pricing of these, there were two that I guess would have qualified as mid seats: Detroit at New Orleans and Denver at Houston. So the extra couple dollars weren't getting you much better.
I don't know. Denver Houston sounds fun.
Also, Josh Dobbs just threw a pick. So
no, Josh. Darn.
Does TJ Hawkinson have 3 fumbles yet?
Is that how bad your fantasy situation is?
Can you tell me if he has 7 fumbles yet? Because that would help me.
No one. I should have given Zay Flowers a game ball for winning me.
Oh my God!
Oh,
I needed Zay Flowers to get me 21.5, and he put up a respectable 13. My cousin's husband and I have a running bit talking about Zay Flowers and how like we're just waiting for him to break out, but we both love him, and it's like it's tough to start him every week. And I got a text from him yesterday at like 8 a.m. He's like, Flowers doesn't go big today. We simply have to put him down. And I eventually sent the Wesley Snipes meme. When Baltimore got the ball back, I sent the Wesley Snipes meme of him like tear in his eye, pointing a gun off camera. And I was like, he's just so mid. Like in fantasy, it's just too tough to start. And then immediately followed that up with, oh my God. Because they ran a wide receiver sweep with Zay Flowers, 30 yards for a touchdown.
They couldn't have done a forward lateral and gotten me some Lamar Jackson points.
No, it was a tried and true run. It wasn't even like a pop pass that has like momentum forward, or like there was one screenshot of a 201 where it's literally thrown straight up in the air, and Tyreek Hill picks it up. No, this was a real handoff.
Don't talk to me about Tua right now. That guy's dead to me. Because Tua was at 10.5 points with 3 minutes to go in the second quarter and ended the game with 7.5 points. Explain, Tua. Explain yourself.
Jets defense is good.
Raheem Mostert.
Raheem Mostert's part of it, but he throws a pick six, then he throws another pick right before half, and then he fumbles. So this dude's just trying to do everything he can to get me to lose this week. And then he called up Dalton Schultz and said, "Hey, buddy, get yourself benched this week." All good things. All good things on my roster.
The only thing people love hearing more about us describing uniforms is us talking about our fantasy teams.
That's the bit. We like doing it. I haven't gotten my rant yet this year, so that's still in my back pocket at some point. If we ever need to bust out the fantasy rant at any point, I will.
Podcaster bingo.
One of those
we are
year.
Checking all the boxes.
Happy to do it.
Honestly, yeah.
You guys want to hang up and do a Monday Night Football watch party?
I have a serious question. Who do you guys have winning MVP at this point?
Dak Prescott.
I'm
Lamar Jackson.
I'm glad you guys said that because I thought I was crazy for thinking Dak and Lamar were the top two guys.
I think Hurts is up there.
Yeah, my actual answer is Hurts, to be honest. I think Hurts wins it, but I think I would vote for Dak right now. It's crazy.
I don't get it with Hurts. I really don't.
I think it's all the narrative. I think if they go 15-2 and Hurts has like 14 rushing touchdowns, he gets it. I think that's how the world works.
But I also think that if we're talking just pure narrative resulting in awards for the Eagles, that probably ends up being Nick Sirianni winning Coach of the Year because I think when you have a team that good and Coach of the Year is so wide open, but you have an Eagles team that's that good and you invented a new way to revolutionize fourth and shorts that no one else is able to replicate, you got to get that.
They were 14-3 with the tush push last year. Like none of this is new.
No, but it's now the talk
Coach of the
town.
Year over-year improvement award.
It's the talk of the town now, Jackson.
I didn't realize it wasn't the talk of the town. That could
tush push. Well, hey, it wasn't the brotherly shove.
Now
it's got a name.
It's got like 3 names now. It's true. And Jack Del Rio figured out how to stop it, so the Commanders had to throw him off the ship before he,
they had
the golden goose.
They had to silence him.
Yeah, he's gone. He can't do anything about it anymore.
They canceled him, Jackson.
He knew too much.
Yeah.
He's gonna watch. I love the Stephen Ruiz tweet. Love. He's gonna watch so much OAN now.
I don't have anything else to say.
Yeah, that'll do it.
You guys. We got like 5 potential episode names in the last 5 minutes too. But Nolan, thanks for coming on. Kale, thanks for beasting it as always. We're gonna go watch the rest of this 3-0 Monday Night Football game and pray for points for Nolan. For Kale, I am Jackson. We will see you next Tuesday.
See you.